Hello again, everyone. This is your boy Jesse Call the Collecting Nerd, and today I will be reviewing the sixth studio album by Bolt Thrower, which is Mercenary. Bolt Thrower is a band that's on a sharp rise to becoming my second favorite death metal band, with its hypnotic and monstrous riffs, Warhammer imagery and themes, and a solid catalog of music where I haven't heard a song yet that I've disliked. Like I mentioned before, it's their sixth studio album, and it was released on November 10th, 1998. Before doing the review, the only song I've listened to on this album is No Guts, No Glory. And I had an interesting experience listening to this. Like what I usually do, I listen to each individual song first before doing the album review. There were a few songs on the album that I actually listened to on repeat because they're just that fun to listen to. And there are a couple of songs on here, which I'll get to, that are pretty much just one and done. I can just kind of go without listening to them. And they're not bad songs. They're just, I'll explain here in a bit. But, like I said, here we go. First off, we're going to be starting with the title opener, Zereoed. From the get-go, the album opens with a simple yet badass riff at the start of the song. It's not the fastest or the heaviest song on the album, but it doesn't really need to be. The solo is pretty much at a perfect spot, which is right about a minute before the song ends, and as expected with just about every other Bolt Thrower song I've listened to, the rhythm section is just fucking tight and solid. Up next, we have Laid to Waste. As soon as Zereoed ends, Laid to Waste picks up in terms of speed. There's a riff in the song that really isn't crushing, but it still adds like another small layer to it. Like if there's one thing that Bolt Thrower has always been good at, it's being able to add riffs on top of riffs on top of riffs, where it feels like you're getting like four songs like jam-packed into like this 5-6 minute jam. But even though that riff isn't repeated throughout, it's good because it kind of leaves plenty of room to add to the song, which is something that they were easily able to do. So, in other words, Laid to Rest, just as the Zereoed, gets an 8 out of 10. Return from Chaos. In an album full of heavy hitters, it's hard to determine which tracks stand out the most. This song has just the right amount of intensity to it, which slows down towards the end of the song, but it's still pretty kick-ass song. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired today, so just fucking deal with it. But it does get a 9 out of 10, which is pretty damn good if you ask me. Now we're on to the title track, Mercenary. While Return from Chaos ends by fading into silence, it leads right into the heavy, sludgy intro of the title track, Mercenary. The track is a bit of a slow burner compared to the songs that came before it, which makes the placement of the song a bit more fitting. It's not necessarily one of my favorite songs on the album, but it's still one that I enjoyed listening to. And I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, just because it's it's one of those songs where it's pretty much like a breather. It's for like the metalheads, like, you know, just take a break or something. Like, I don't know how to explain it for people who aren't really used to listening to metal, but like the way an album ebbs and flows from like start to finish is kind of crucial in how an album, not just in metal but in general, sounds. Alright, so here we have, after Mercenary, To the Last. It's a good song for the middle of the album, however it doesn't really add anything to the album. It feels a bit more like a filler song to me. If you like it, then cool, but personally, it's not one of my favorite songs on the album. Like I mentioned before, it's one of those songs where I'm perfectly fine listening to just once or twice and calling it a day. Therefore, it gets a 5 out of 10. And then from there, Powder Burns picks up where the album left off, that signature Bolt Thrower intro riff, which they've used in songs like The Kill Chain, and I can't remember the others off the top of my head, but it has that similar like signature Bolt Thrower like intro riff where they used in a few different songs, but it still adds something to the song. It still I don't know how to describe it, but even though, yeah, they repeated it, it still sounds fucking cool. Like, I am definitely a sucker for that fucking type of intro riff. I don't know how to explain it. The best part is that even though, like, the riff is intense, like the rest of the song is intense too, it just pretty much carries the momentum throughout the song. And because of that, I'm going to have to give it an 8 out of 10. Alright, so Behind Enemy Lines is a bit of a slow burner. I honestly wish the pace was a bit faster of the song, since it does follow Powder Burns. Other than the solo, it is one of the weaker songs on the album, and it doesn't hold up compared to the rest of the album, so I'm also going to give it a 5 out of 10. Up next, we have No Guts, No Glory, which is the song that sparked my interest in listening to this album. It starts off with a bang. It launches itself right into a monstrous riff, as most Bull Thrower songs do, perfectly capturing the mentality of like going into battle. That's what the song's about, at least from my interpretation. It's one of those songs where I enjoy enough to put on full blast no matter what I'm doing. It has that repeat factor, like some of the other songs on this album do, and for that I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. And the closing song we have on this album is the 6th chapter, which is kind of fitting considering it's the 6th album. It provides another heavy hitter with this song, like most of the album. Despite it slowing down halfway through, it's still a fitting closer as the song in the album just fades away at the end, which normally when it comes to albums that just have like a song that just sort of fades as a way to end it, it's a bit of an underwhelming sort of closure, but I think it fits the album pretty well, so I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. So here we have the overall. After checking out the tracks individually, I listened to the album all the way through. When reviewing albums, I find that important, since listening to an album all the way through versus listening to songs individually have like a completely different, like unique sort of experience. Kind of like if you put on an album like AC/DC or Jailbreak, and you're only used to hearing like those hit songs that the radio just fucking forces down your throat, versus listening to the actual album as a whole, it leaves you with a lot of room to discover. So, because of that, I'm giving this album a 7.5 out of 10. The tracks on this album, for the most part, stand out, and sometimes I feel like that's an unstoppable force, while there are a couple of tracks that do stick out like a sore thumb in terms of like just being underwhelming or not really matching in terms of intensity of the album, or just, I wouldn't say they're bad songs, like I said, they don't really have that repeat factor, and that's one of the things I consider when reviewing a song individually. So, still enjoy the album despite these flaws, and I would like to know what you guys think as well. If you guys like the review, that is pretty cool. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. This is Jesse Kell, the Collecting Nerd. Tally-ho!